10 days, nothing can prepare you for the truth.
Everything you've ever known led you to this moment.
Stephen Strange.
The Illuminati will see you now.
You opened the doorway to the multiverse.
On May 6th,
We don't know who or what will walk through it.
Okay, I thought one Strange was bad enough.
Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange.
Welcome back, everyone. This will be my new Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness video. Right after I just posted one, Marvel posted a bunch of extra new footage. A lot of you are also asking about the Living Tribunal. It's also featured during the trailers, along with a bunch of other really big cosmic characters. It's all tied to a big deleted scene from Avengers Infinity War that I did a video about a billion years ago, because it is really cool to see Marvel doing big cosmic characters in the MCU finally. We also saw a version of the Living Tribunal during the Loki series. I'll talk about what's going on with the variant of Iron Man that they're featuring during the movie with all these different Ultron robots from the alternate universe, and all the scenes of the Illuminati during the trailer. If you're brand new to the channel, I'm doing an IMAX ticket giveaway for the movie. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just leave all your theories about the cosmic concepts in the MCU going forward after this. I will do full videos for the movie next week after it comes out in theaters, and I'll post my non-spoilery review after we're allowed to post it. I think I'm supposed to see it sometime early next week. As of me posting this video today, I have not seen the movie yet. I'll start with the Living Tribunal stuff, then I'll talk about the variant of Iron Man, and then the crazy skeletons and all the Easter eggs from the posters with all the different variants that people are talking about. The scene with the Living Tribunal also seems like it happens really quickly, like blink and you'll miss it, when MCU Doctor Strange and America Chavez have just been saved by Defender Strange before he gets turned into a Marvel zombie. Big deep cut for Marvel's What If episodes. We're actually going to be getting What If Season 2 episodes later this year too. I'll be doing full videos for it, but it's going to be a little while before we get a trailer.
Zombies, great idea. Love zombies.
It's not them. It's what came with the zombies.
They've just tried to get the Book of the Vishanti and use it because Doctor Strange is trying to get their magical power, which is a huge upgrade for him, and use it to counter Scarlet Witch's chaos magic in the Magic of the Darkhold. The movie does invoke the Vishanti in a really big way. The Book of the Vishanti, I just did a big video on why they're such a huge deal in the MCU and how they're kind of like the gods from Moon Knight in Thor Love and Thunder, so I'll add a link for that video in the description below too. And after America Chavez punches another hole between universes so that they can escape, it seems like in the interdimensional space, like as they're porting between different universes, they pass a really quick blink and you'll miss it version of the MCU Living Tribunal, which is a really huge deal, like I said, a huge deep cut for a giant deleted scene from Avengers Infinity War. The one we saw during the Loki series was a different version, so I'll talk about the Infinity War one first, because he was an important character during the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet storyline, which they adapted for the movie itself. And because this video is also kind of meant to be an Iron Man variant video, this also ties in with the MCU version of Iron Man in their battle on Titan with Thanos during Infinity War. During that battle, Doctor Strange uses a bunch of really cool magical spells that are meant to be deep cuts from the comics, like the Crimson Bands of Sidorak. He also splits himself into a bunch of different aspects to confuse Thanos. It was meant to be one of the cooler magical battles during the movie. A lot of you have also probably detected there's another Easter egg for that spell, like they brought it back again with the Marvel Zombies version of Defender Strange in the Doctor Strange 2 trailer, where he creates all the skeletal versions of himself getting ready to attack everybody and go crazy. So multiple Infinity War and Endgame callbacks during Doctor Strange 2. But back during the battle on Titan, Doctor Strange was going to pull the same trick on Thanos during the fight that the Ancient One pulled on him when he first came to Kamar-Taj, sending him on the magical mystery tour of the multiverse and through different dimensions in different universes. At the end of the multiverse tour, Doctor Strange was going to take Thanos to the MCU Living Tribunal to be judged in the cosmic sense, like being judged by the actual MCU multiverse. They said they had to delete the scene because the movie had started to get too long and it was just too confusing for the non-hardcore audiences, like who's this character? Why is this such a big deal? It would have required a bunch of extra scenes on top of that to explain who the Living Tribunal was, because this was the first time you were seeing him, and Thanos would still have beaten him at the end of the day, escaped judgment, because he was always going to snap the full Infinity Gauntlet with all 6 Infinity Stones at the end of the movie. That was never going to change. So they said it just became too extra and had to go. The version of the Living Tribunal that we see during the Loki series is during Episode 5 on the planet at the end of time. Basically, it was the dumping ground for everything from timelines that Kang wanted to get rid of, or He Who Remains version of Kang. But if you've been watching the Marvel movies since the beginning, since that first Iron Man film, you know that they have a long history of bringing back those deleted scenes, deleted concepts, and repurposing them for future movies in different contexts. Like things that they weren't able to do in previous movies but thought were really cool, they brought back in a bigger way in future movies. And the Living Tribunal is just the next example of that. The Living Tribunal is like this vast, powerful, humanoid cosmic entity who has existed as long as the universe itself. It was created when the multiverse was created. Its entire purpose is to be the judge, jury, and executioner for the entire multiverse. It protects the multiverse against an imbalance of mystical forces like we see happening during Doctor Strange 2. It acts to prevent one universe from amassing more powers than the others, threatening the other universes. Sometimes it'll also micromanage and try to prevent an overwhelming imbalance of good or evil in any particular universe. But typically, when matters involve only a single universe, it'll leave things to the lesser cosmic entities that live in that one particular universe. Scarlet Witch and all the variants threaten the entire multiverse during the movie, all of reality, so it makes sense that they would invoke the Living Tribunal in some way for the film. They've changed its appearance just a little bit for the movie, so they've shown it as 3 different heads, but in the comics, it's actually one single body with 3 different faces. One of the faces is totally uncovered, one is partially covered, and the other is fully covered with that cloth that you see on top of it. Because it's meant to protect the sanctity of all reality of the entire multiverse, there's only one of it in the entire multiverse, as opposed to lesser gods like Thor, where there's a different variant in every single universe. He's meant to be one of the most powerful cosmic level characters in existence next to the Beyonders, Eternity, the Celestials, the One Above All, and the Cosmos. The Cosmos is like the living entity that embodies the entire multiverse. The Loki series implied that a version of Kang could be more powerful theoretically than the Living Tribunal, or the Beyonders, for example, would be able to kill the Living Tribunal, but pretty much everybody else, even the Celestials, would have a hard time taking it down. But talking about what's going on with Iron Man during the trailer, so we see all these alternate universe Ultron-looking robots escorting Doctor Strange to see Professor X. There's a bunch of news scenes of him with those robots going to see the Illuminati. There's been a lot of reports people have been asking me about this past week, saying that Tom Cruise is not playing a version of Iron Man during the movie, which shouldn't be that big of a surprise. I mean, Tom Cruise is a huge actor. It's no surprise that he would not show up in a Marvel movie. But there's a lot of confusion. People think that the rumor says that there's no Iron Man in the movie anywhere, but the report just says that Tom Cruise is not in the movie, not that the movie doesn't reference any kind of version of Iron Man at all. Because that is where these robots would have come from this alternate universe version of Iron Man. So there is a version of Iron Man that the movie references, but it was probably never gonna be Tom Cruise portraying that character. And probably out of respect for Robert Downey Jr. and MCU Iron Man, I wouldn't be surprised if this Iron Man variant is only a tiny part of the movie, like we see a ton of his robots, especially Scarlet Witch ripping through a ton of his robots. RIP to these Ultron robots. But they might only reference Iron Man himself, or if we do wind up seeing a version of him, he's only a tiny part of the movie, and it definitely will not be Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Iron Man. The Iron Man Armor Wars series next year will invoke more of the legacy of MCU Iron Man because Rhodey is going to be one of the main characters. It's going to be all about a villain taking Iron Man's technology and using it in really terrible ways and them having to stop them. And down the road, we will see more Iron Man stuff happening around whatever version of Secret Wars they do with the MCU multiverse. There's a lot of questions about what's going on with the skeletons during the trailer too, because a lot of people have been posting memes about Quicksilver like, oh yay, Quicksilver's in the film, because it is a skeleton and MCU Quicksilver died a long time ago. But like I said, the actual skeletons are meant to be another Easter egg for the Marvel Zombies version of Defender Strange and the Infinity War scene of him splitting himself into a bunch of different astral aspects. This also turns into another big Sam Raimi Easter egg for the way that he films a lot of his horror movies, like the Evil Dead Easter eggs. When the camera whips past this zombie version of Defender Strange and he swipes at the camera like it's in first-person perspective, you see all the skeletal-looking astral projections flying past him to attack the others at this big Darkhold temple, and you see them again in MCU Scarlet Witch's eye as it zooms in on her eyeball. The reflection in her eyeball are the skeletons. There's more footage of Doctor Strange with the red-hair Christine Palmer variant in one of the Sanctums performing a big spell floating in the air. There's more footage of him fighting the Sinister Strange variant in his Sanctum. You can actually see that they've changed his magical energy to purple. They've given all the variants different colors of magic, mostly to help the casual fans tell things apart when things get really crazy on screen with all the big magical battles. But the other reason to do that will be just to show that they are each weaving different kinds of spells and using different types of magic, drawing their magical power from different sources. But if there's anything in the trailer footage that I didn't talk about in the video that you have a lot of questions about, or any big Easter eggs that you spotted, just write them below in the comments. My full Moon Knight Episode 5 video will post next. Make sure you enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everyone click here for that Moon Knight Episode 5 video. I'll update the link as soon as I post the video. And click here for my brand new Guardians of the Galaxy 3 video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.